Welcome to English Made Simple with Mark. Here is how you master questions 1, 2 and 3, get full marks and avoid any easy mistakes. Let's start with question 1. Very simple question. Select 2 words or phrases that show why something is happening or how it's happened, etc. Now this answer here got 0 marks. Can you work out why? Now it looks okay to me, but congratulations if you guessed correctly with it's not from the right lines, and that's the easiest way someone cannot gain full marks in question 1 of the English language exam. Another thing I've seen from my students is a tendency to maybe try and write too much, to maybe use long quotations which aren't selective enough, and to maybe use their own sentence openings, one word or phrase that I find interesting, etc. There's no need to do so. It is only asking for quotations after all, and please do not fall into the trap of trying to explain those quotations. It's only worth 2 marks, so no analysis or comment necessary. Just answer the question, don't overthink it. So here's question 2. Now, this answer, you might be able to spot one error that it's made already just from looking at it. But this does not get full marks, and as you can see, this is an actual answer that I've taken from the Exam Board website. The first thing you may have noticed is that it doesn't actually have enough ideas that answer the question, that describe the walk to the bus station. Just skimming it through, I'm finding it very difficult to find any ideas about the walk to the bus station specifically. That's partly because this person has written it in a disorganized way. They've also added lots of unnecessary details. You don't need to repeat the fact it's from lines 36 to 43. You don't even need to mention the writer, and you certainly do not need to quote in this question. There is a big clue in the question itself, of course, in your own words. So this answer is a catalogue of errors regarding the approach to question 2. This is what it should look like. Here's one from one of my students, and this is how we recommend question 2 is answered. Now, with these opening questions, keep it simple as much as possible. So as you can see here, it's got 4 ideas. You can see my ticks. That's me confirming where the idea is as I was marking it. That's what I'm looking for as a marker. I'm just looking for where are the ideas. You can see as well, there's no quotation marks whatsoever, which is a really good sign because, as it says, it's in your own words. The answer is also very well structured and organised. As you can see, the question is key difficulties. So you guessed it, that it starts off with 1 difficulty, second sentence, another difficulty, third sentence, another difficulty, and the same for sentence 4 over here. Now, for a marker, this is very, very helpful because it helps me find where the difficulties are. But I feel as a student, it really helps keep yourself on track and make sure you're not writing too much. Here are my top tips that the student has followed to make sure they got 4 out of 4 for this question. One motto my students stick to in these questions is 1 sentence per point. It shouldn't take you any longer than 1 sentence in order to express the idea, especially as it doesn't need quotations. So 4 sentences, 4 difficulties, keep it nice and simple. As we've seen, start with the key word in the question. You've got a ready-made sentence starter. Sometimes students say, sir, it feels a little bit formulaic, it feels a little bit repetitive. Save your varied sentence openings for the transactional writing question. There's nothing on the mark scheme other than do they get 4 valid ideas. Now, something that helps add a little bit of detail to this question, rather than just having a list of 4 simple difficulties, is to explain them just a little bit. Now, we're not talking analysis of quotations, not at all. But if you can use these words as, when, because, it just proves to the examiner, look, I've understood it. I haven't just guessed at what a difficulty was. I've done what a maths teacher might say is show my working. For example, another difficulty, looking at the last one, was that she only had 1 chance. Now that doesn't make sense unless you explain it with the because it takes a lot of effort to climb the mast. This was about Ellen MacArthur climbing the mast of her ship at night. And moving on to question 3 then. It's a slightly different question because now you are allowed to include quotations, but really the mark scheme is essentially the same. Can you find 5 things that you have understood, inferred from the text? Now this answer, I believe, got 3 marks, and again, this is a real one I found from the exam board. The first reason it only gets 3 marks is it doesn't have enough ideas, it doesn't have enough points, so therefore it was never going to get the full 5 marks. Something that again has not helped the student and made life more difficult for a very tired and weary busy examiner is the disorganised nature of this approach. There is not a specific sentence structure, there seems to be 2 odd paragraphs. There doesn't seem to be a specific method that this student is sticking to. They feel a little bit out of practice. And they are also not always answering the question, which is why this person underachieved. It's something we take for granted as teachers is we expect the class to answer the question, describe Lenker's thoughts and feelings, and then it starts to talk about Alan and what he did. Even though the text is predominantly about Benedict Allen in its past paper, it's about Lenker's feelings, so you need to find 5 of those to the best of your ability. So those are some easy mistakes people can make: not enough points, disorganised approach, and not reading the question carefully. Now this is a real student from our school who got 5 out of 5 for this question, and you can see they've been trained really well for this question. The question is about what do we learn about Nott's thoughts and actions. We could have guessed what the question was just reading their answer. Every paragraph, or rather every point of their answer, begins with we learn, we learn, we learn. So straight away this person is structuring their answer really, really well. Very clear from an examiner's point of view. I look at this answer and I think, great, they've got 5 ideas, I just need to go through and make sure they are the right ones. And they are. They all answer the question about Nott's thoughts and feelings. As you can see, where Lenker's name was missing a little bit in the last answer, we have Nott being mentioned. And this person here has borrowed my advice from question 2. Use as, when, because. They haven't used it all the time, but I recommend use those words to help you add a reason for what's happening, rather than we learnt not deeply cared. Well, because who did he care about, for example? When did he care, for example, for instance? So my advice for this question is 1 sentence per point, and this time space them out. You can do that for question 2. I call them invisible bullet points. The examiners don't like bullet points, but you can space them out. Add a quotation at the end using a dash. Now, I'm all for embedded quotations, but again, there's nothing about sentence structures or fluency on the mark scheme for this answer. So just add a quotation to the end. The easiest way to do that is add a dash. So as you can see, really, it's like question 2, but just with a quotation added on the end and worth 1 more mark, hence you should have 1 more idea. But as you can see, this person has kept it as simple as possible, not overcomplicated it, and they have got a full set of 5 marks, and without wasting unnecessary time, keeping to an efficient style, saving as much time as possible for the questions that are worth 12, 22 and 45 marks later on. You don't want to give lots of time over to questions which are just worth 11 marks in total. So there you go. That's how to answer question 1, 2 and 3 from the English Language IGCSE Paper 1 examination. Question 1, we quote from the right lines. Only quote what you need, nothing else. And please don't fall into the trap of analysing or explaining. It's only worth 2 marks. Question 2 and question 3 are very, very similar. Depending on how many marks it is, you need that many points. Stick to and practice, my recommendation, a 1 sentence per point style for these early questions to stop overcomplication and to stop wasting time. Use the words in the question, find the key word and repeat that key word at the start of every sentence. Use my other top tip of the as, when, because approach, using one of those words in every sentence to make sure you've shown your working and you've proven your inference. And then my last top tip for question 3, just to recap, was to add a quotation, but rather than embed it, which takes a little bit of thought, just add it on the end using a dash. And there you go. that is how to answer question 1, 2 and 3 without complication, keeping it as simple as possible, making sure that you get those 11 marks as efficiently as you possibly can.